Welcome back to Empire State Weekly. I'm Tim Lake in Albany. Applications are now open for more than $328 million in federal home heating aid for those who need it most this winter. The Home Energy Assistance Program, or HEAP, the funds are now available for low and middle income New Yorkers who otherwise might not be able to keep their homes warm. And since many New Yorkers were thrown out of work this year, the need for assistance this year is even greater. Now, eligible homeowners and renters can receive up to $741 in assistance. A family of four is eligible if their gross monthly income is under about $5,000. Now, this is an annual program that could be expanded this year because of the pandemic. And now National Grid spokesperson Patrick Stella is joining us via Zoom to discuss the critical importance of this home heating program. Mr. Stella, thank you so much for being with us here on Empire State Weekly.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so this year, a lot of people have a difficult situation with the pandemic. Now, the Home Energy Assistance Program operates each year, of course, and I think the figures show that last year in New York State, some 1.6 million homeowners and renters got heating assistance aid. Do we have any indicators about how much more significant this kind of help is to New Yorkers this year?
Yeah, well, I can speak to National Grid. I mean, the overall New York statistics I don't know, but they know that, for National Grid, for this year or since COVID is started in March, we've seen over 200,000 households in upstate New York that have been in arrears or late on their bills. And that's an increase that's probably one of the largest numbers that we've seen in the past 10 to 15 years. So it is a large number, and it's definitely affecting our customers.
So I guess the presumption is that you're going to have a lot more people this year who are taking an interest in this home heating help program. So I'm curious, do we know if this season are there any adjustments to the qualifications? Simply because a lot of people technically still have a job, but they're now on unemployment, their earnings are different, they may eventually be going back to their jobs. Does that necessitate any adjustments to the qualifications, or do we even know that?
At this point, we don't know that. It's certainly something I think that the federal government will take up, and it's something that I think that needs to be considered. I think one of the things that we've done as a company is that we've proposed $50 million in financial assistance, specifically for COVID, to change some of our programs and some of the eligibility for some of those programs as far as deferred payments and things like that. That needs to be approved by the state, but we did submit that a few weeks ago, and we're waiting to hear on the status of that. So there's a need, and I think people know it, and I think you'll see some changes going forward. But one of the things that's really important is that HEAP application, and every year we do urge customers to apply for that as early as possible. And I think this year is probably even more so important that you do that, because once the HEAP money that they have currently is not there, there's no more for customers to get. So
yeah, that's the reason I was asking if there were any adjustments in the qualifications, because I see the warning is first come, first serve, and that's important because I know in years past, when it runs out, and depending on the winter, it could be in the middle of cold season. So why is it important then that people apply now?
Yeah, and that's the reason. It is a first come, first serve. There have been in the past. They've included emergency HEAP funding later in the year if they've seen a really hard winter or there's a lot of people applying, so that's possible. But we don't know about that yet. So right now it's important that the customers, if they think they might be having problems or they think that they might have issues with their utility bills now, is to apply now.
The other regulation that the state has imposed is this moratorium where the utilities like National Grid can't disconnect the gas or electric for non-payment during this emergency situation. But what does that require utilities do for the homeowners instead of a disconnection?
Well, we have customer advocates throughout upstate New York that specifically work one-on-one with customers. We have 3 in the capital region, the greater capital region, that work directly with customers, and they also work with the community agencies in various areas to help and find funding that's out there. HEAP is probably the primary vehicle for that. National Grid has its own Care and Share program that's run by donations through our foundation and through employee donations that we can help customers with. And then some of these community agencies, they have funding as well, and we try to connect customers with that where we can.
All right, so I feel like I can afford my heat bills for the first part of the winter, but I'm uncertain about February, March, even into April. What would you advise me to do if I'm considering not applying at this point because I think I'm okay now, but I don't know about later?
Yeah, we would urge people to apply. If they think that they might not be able to make it, if it's a really unusually cold winter or a long winter, yeah, definitely, err on the side of caution. Apply and make sure have that comfort that that money's there if you need it. I think that that's really the message.
And one final point here, Patrick Stella with National Grid. A lot of people may be considering the HEAP program for the first time ever in their lives because of their unemployment situation and the pandemic. It's important that they understand that they don't have to pay this back, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
That is. It is. It's aid that's out there for people who are having trouble, and it's not a loan.
Yes.
It is a grant program. So.
Yes, and certainly we understand that there are far more people throughout the state who could use this benefit this year because of the pandemic and the unemployment situation. Well, listen, Patrick Stella, National Grid spokesperson, we appreciate your help in getting us through the winter every year as well. Thank you very much for being with us on Empire State Weekly.
Thank you.
On Election Day, it looked like a winning season for New York State Senate Republicans. But after counting absentee ballots, Democrats gained more power in